I'll answer the question. You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Jack Nicholson is an American actor and filmmaker whose career has spanned more than 60 years. He is known for playing a wide range of starring or supporting roles, including comedy, romance, and darkly comic portrayals of anti-heroes and villainous characters. In many of his films, he plays the eternal outsider, the sardonic drifter, someone who rebels against the social structure. Nicholson's 12 Academy Award nominations make him the most nominated male actor in the Academy's history. He has won the award for Best Actor twice, one for the drama One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in 1975, and the other in the romantic comedy As Good As It Gets in 1997. He also won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for the comedy drama Terms of Endearment in 1983.
Never rub another man's rhubarb.
His full name is John Joseph Nicholson, also known as Jack Nicholson. As of this production, he is 82 years old and was born on April 22nd, 1937 in Neptune City, New Jersey, in the United States. He stands at 1.77 meters tall, or 5 feet 10 inches. Nicholson enjoys spending time watching sports. His favorite food is burgers and chips. His favorite music is classical music. His favorite movie is The Shining, very modest, and his favorite actor is Leonardo DiCaprio. Nicholson's only marriage was to Sandra Knight on June 17, 1962 to August 8, 1968. They had been separated for 2 years prior to the divorce. They had one daughter together, Jennifer, born on September 16, 1963. Actress Susan Anspacht contended that her son, Caleb Goddard, born on September 26, 1970, was fathered by Nicholson. In 1984, Nicholson stated that he was not convinced that he is Caleb's father. However, in 1996, Caleb stated that Nicholson had acknowledged him as his son. At some point between 1988 and 1994, Nicholson provided assistance to put Caleb through college, and Anspacht's New York Times obituary referred to Caleb as her son, whose father is Jack Nicholson. Between April 1973 and January 1990, Nicholson had an on-again, off-again relationship with Angelica Huston that included periods of overlap with other women, including Danish model Winnie Holman, by whom he fathered a daughter, Honey Holman, born in 1981. From 1989 to 1994, Nicholson had a relationship with actress Rebecca Broussard. They had 2 children together, daughter Lorraine Nicholson, born on April 16, 1990, named after his aunt, and son Raymond, born on February 20th, 1992. For over a year, from 1999 to 2000, Nicholson dated actress Lara Flynn Boyle. They later reunited before splitting permanently in 2004.
Little pigs, let me come in. Not by the hair on your chinny chin chin. Here's Johnny. Here's Johnny.
Nicholson was the son of a showgirl, June Frances Nicholson. June Nicholson was of Irish, English, German, and Welsh descent. She married Italian-American showman Donald Fusillo in 1936, apparently before realizing that he was already married. Biographer Patrick McGillian stated in his book Jack's Life that Latvian-born Eddie King, June's manager, may have been Nicholson's biological father rather than Fusillo. Other sources also suggest that June Nicholson was unsure of the father's identity. As June was only 17 years old and unmarried, her parents agreed to raise baby Jack as their own child without revealing his true parentage, and June would act as his sister. In 1974, Time magazine researchers learned and informed Nicholson that his sister June was actually his mother, and his other sister, Lorraine, was really his aunt. Nicholson grew up in Neptune City and was raised in his mother's Roman Catholic religion. Before starting high school, his family moved to an apartment in Spring Lake, New Jersey. Nick, as he was known to his high school friends, attended Manasquan High School, where he was voted class clown by the class of 1954. He was in detention every day for a whole school year. A theatre and drama award at the school are named in his honour. In 2004, Nicholson attended his 50-year high school reunion, accompanied by his aunt Lorraine. Nicholson's first appearance on screen was in Roger Corman's 1958 teen thriller, The Cry-Baby Killer. Over the next decade, Nicholson and Corman would collaborate frequently. Nicholson also worked behind the camera, writing and directing. He also appeared in a number of low-budget westerns. He wrote the screenplay for the 1967 movie The Trip, which was directed by Corman and starred Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda. Made for a budget of $100,000, The Trip went on to earn $10 million at the box office. 2 years later, Jack was given the part in The Easy Rider, which was written by Hopper and Fonda. Easy Rider cost just $400,000 to make and went on to make $40 million worldwide. The role earned Nicholson an Academy Award nomination. The success and praise from Easy Rider would set Nicholson on an A-list path that would continue for decades to come. Other notable Nicholson film roles include 5 Easy Pieces, Chinatown, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Carnal Knowledge, The Shining, Reds, Terms of Endearment, Batman, A Few Good Men, As Good as It Gets, About Schmidt, Something's Gotta Give, and The Departed. One of Jack Nicholson's early paydays came in 1974 when he earned $500,000 for Chinatown. That's the same as around $2.6 million in today's dollars. In 1975, he earned a base salary of $1 million for Cuckoo's Nest. He was also given 15% of the gross, by which 1978 brought his total paycheck for the movie to $15 million. That's the same as earning $60 million today. His Cuckoo's Nest earnings made him one of the wealthiest actors on the planet and allowed him to choose exactly which roles he would take from that point on. He actually turned down what are now classed as epic starring roles in the movies Taxi Driver and Apocalypse Now. In 1976, he starred alongside his idol Marlon Brando in The Missouri Breaks. He earned $1.25 million for the role and was given 10% of the film's gross earnings above $12.5 million. The movie only ended up earning $14 million, so his bonus was not particularly impressive. He earned another $1.25 million for 1980's The Shining and $1 million for 1981's Terms of Endearment. By the late 1980s, Nicholson's base salary had grown to $4 or $5 million. By the 1990s and 2000s, his base salary had grown to $10 to $15 million. He earned $15 million for As Good as It Gets, $10 million for About Schmidt, and $20 million for Anger Management. Jack earned $10 million for 2006's The Departed and 2007's The Bucket List, which were his 2 most notable roles before retiring from acting in 2010. In 1989, Jack was offered $10 million to appear as the Joker in Tim Burton's Batman. He famously offered to take just $6 million in exchange for a lucrative cut of not just the film's box office gross, but also the merchandise sales and toys featuring his likeness. Batman went on to gross $411 million at the worldwide box office. Within the first few years of the movie's release, his earnings topped $40 million. By 1994, he had earned $60 million from the deal. That's the same as earning $110 million today. Before adjusting for inflation, Jack's $60 million payday is enough to be 12th on the largest acting paycheck ever. The highest acting paycheck of all time is currently the $156 million Keanu Reeves earned from Matrix 2 and 3. If you take into account inflation and recognise that Reeves' earnings came from 2 movies, Jack Nicholson's Batman paycheck is the largest in Hollywood history. Jack Nicholson has a net worth that sits around $400 million. His real estate portfolio alone is worth over $100 million. He owns at least a dozen properties in the United States that we know about through property records. His longtime primary residence is a multi-property compound on Mulholland Drive in Beverly Hills. Today, his Mulholland compound covers 3 acres over at least 4 properties. He bought the first property in 1969. He added additional parcels in 1993 and 2005. The property he added in 2005 was acquired from the estate of his good friend Marlon Brando. Nicholson bought the estate for $5 million in 2005 and razed the previous home. He also owns several other houses around Los Angeles, including a house in Santa Monica, a condo in Venice, and a 70-acre property in Malibu, which he listed for $4.5 million in 2011, but ultimately took it off the market. Outside of Los Angeles, Jack owns a house in Shasta County in Northern California, an oceanfront home in Kailua, Hawaii, and at least 1, perhaps 2 or 3, properties in Aspen, Colorado. He sold a home in Aspen back in 2016 for $11 million, a year after listing it for $15 million. Jack is known for being one of the best art collectors in Hollywood. He has been collecting art since the 1960s. His art collection is worth an estimated $150 million. Jack Nicholson has a Mercedes-Benz 600 Grosser. and an old Range Rover Vogue.